Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Ape Huncho, back at you again with another video. So guys, I have a couple of updates around some stories we've been covering over the past couple of weeks, but before we get into that, for you guys who don't know, a man by the name of George Floyd was murdered by police in broad daylight. He was unarmed, and from what's being reported, he wasn't even resisting arrest. Now you guys know from time to time I'll share American news stories, and this one again I feel like the message needs to be spread because what's so disturbing about this incident is the fact that when police had arrested him and had him on the floor, the arresting officer had his knee on his neck and he was shouting at the officer that he couldn't breathe, and if you've seen the disturbing footage, he even claims that he knows he's about to die. Now it's been said that George had used a fraudulent check in a local grocery store and the employees had phoned the police to respond to the incident, but I'm sorry, a fraudulent check is not worth a man's life at all, not in the way that he went out as well. Now I don't care what anybody says, this is straight up murder, and what a surprise the police officers haven't even been arrested or charged, and it gives resemblance to the Ahmaud Arbery case that was covered not too long ago. Where is the justice in this situation? Because right now I don't really see any, and if you've been paying attention to my community tab then you'll know I've been sharing little updates surrounding the protests / riots that are now taking place courtesy of independent news outlet Unicorn Riot, and I'll leave their channel link down in the description. They'll be on scene of the protests and riots taking place, giving people a voice which is hardly heard, so you should definitely go and check them out. What makes me super frustrated in this situation as well is rather than policing the protests and of course it now turning into rioting and looting, it looks like the majority of the police force were actually outside the officer's house protecting him when he should be in a cell anyway. And because the majority of the police were at his house, absolutely anarchy broke out onto the streets of Minneapolis, and last night shops were getting looted and buildings were getting set on fire, including the police station, and trust me, very expensive items were getting stolen. I'm talking hundreds if not thousands of watches worth over 10 to 50 grand per watch. The protests have also now spread to LA, and it will more than likely just keep growing and growing because people have had enough of police brutality in America, and trust me, the brutality is not going to stop at George Floyd. Now I've been giving little updates on my community tab every night, so be sure to check out for further updates in the protests. Which moves us on to our first update, and that's an update in the Chad Gordon situation. Now I've been covering this story, so I'll leave those videos linked down in the description, but to summarize, Chad Gordon was murdered on his front doorstep in a case of mistaken identity, and although no arrest had been made, police released an image of a moped they believed that was linked to the situation. Now originally, even though no arrest had been made, it does look now as if police have gone on to arrest a 23-year-old man in connection with the murder who currently remains in police custody. Again, this man hasn't been charged in connection with the murder, he's just been arrested, and again there was two people, so we'll see where this goes, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this situation as it develops. Which moves us on to our next story, and a lot of you might not necessarily know about this situation, but as you guys know, Cases Season 2 is surrounding cases that shocked the nation, and I'll be doing a video surrounding it, and that is the murder of 11-year-old schoolboy Rhys Jones. Rhys Jones, for you guys who didn't know, was murdered in 2007 when he was hit by a bullet in the crossfire of a gangland shootout. And I'm not going to dive super deep into the case because I'm saving that for the cases episode, but one of the killers, that being Sean Mercer, who was 16 at the time that he pulled the trigger, has had his identity sealed, with of course no pictures of him being released to the public since 2007, but recently it seems that a picture of him has been leaked online. Now 29, he was originally sentenced to life in prison with a minimum sentence of 22 years, and it seems like after liking a woman's comment on Instagram from inside jail, he started seeing her for 8 months. The woman visited him 3 times in prison, and she said that he told her that he hung around with the wrong people and he accidentally hurt someone. She went on to say that Sean was not the person he was made out to be in the media, and the killing eats him up. And she added that 6-foot Sean Mercer doesn't get grief inside prison because he said people don't fuck around with him, and that he had aspirations of becoming a father to 1 or 2 children once he's released. Now it's been reported that Sean can apply for review halfway through his sentence, and of course it's gone past that stage, so I'm kind of guessing that he's probably already applied for it. But now with this leak coming out that he's had a mobile phone, it's being said that now the review is in jeopardy. Also, a source has said that this kind of behaviour goes to the heart of what Sean Mercer is like. On the one hand, he's trying to play the system by claiming he's a reformed character so he can get out of prison early, and on the other hand, rather than sticking to the rules, he's openly using a mobile phone to have a relationship with a woman on the outside. Again, at some some point over the next few weeks, I'll cover the murder of Rhys Jones in depth in a cases video, so be sure to check that out in the near future. So moving on to our next update, and that's a little update in the Aya Hachem murder investigation. Again, I'll leave all coverage linked down in the description, but to summarise, 19-year-old Aya Hachem was gunned down in what was thought to have been a case of her being caught in the crossfire of a drive-by shooting. Recently, we've seen 4 men and a woman go on to be charged with her murder, and it now seems like a further man has been charged as well. On Sunday, May the 24th, 2020, a Lancashire police spokesperson said Aya Hussein, aged 34, has been charged with the murder of Aya and the attempted murder of Pashar Khan, who was the intended target. Now, as you guys know, since the start of the shooting, it was speculated that the shooting had occurred because 2 tyre garages were in some sort of turf war, and police now strongly believe that this was the case. In court recently, it was heard that Alexander Langhorne for the prosecution said that police were called to the shooting, which had arisen out of what appeared to be a dispute between R1 Tyres and Quickshine. Mr. Langhorne said it was the Crown's case that the target was Pashar Khan, owner of Quickshine, and a provisional trial date was set for May the 4th, 2021. Judge Mark Brown said that that was a worst case scenario, however, he hoped that it might be brought forward. Now, in my previous coverage of this situation, I went on to say that I was a bit confused because the shooting had taken place outside of R1 Tyres, so why would they have shot up their own store? But it does seem like the two were actually next door to each other. I mean, here, take a look on Google Maps, they're literally next door to each other. Absolutely crazy to think that you would shoot up somewhere, but to shoot up somewhere literally next door to you is probably one of the most stupidest things that you can actually do. But if there is any further updates surrounding this situation, as always, I'll let you guys know. Which moves us on to our last story, and this is an article I came across in which Sky News had reported on. So as you guys know, it's been months now since the government announced that the UK was going into lockdown amid this whole coronavirus situation. And as you know, although gang crime has been on the up, it hasn't been as bad because, of course, the coronavirus outbreak. And Sky News are now saying that due to lockdown measures, social media has been fueling gang rivalries, and police believe that when lockdown is over, it's a bomb waiting to explode. John Apter, chairman of the Police Federation of England and Wales, said social media sites have been a breeding ground for gangs to taunt each other. He went on to say, "We are very aware of the pressure cooker that has developed when it comes to gang members who want to create mayhem when this lockdown is eased. My real genuine fear is that some scores are going to be settled, and that will mean more people being hurt or, God forbid, being murdered on our streets." Fearing a rise in stabbings and shootings, he went on to say, although crime levels in England and Wales have fallen by more than a quarter during the pandemic, a surge in gang violence linked to county lines may escalate tensions. And to deal with this predicted surge, the Metropolitan Police have now launched violent suppression units. Mr. Apter went on to say, "We have never been in this situation before, so I think it's not unreasonable to say that the level of crime which we have seen reduced will significantly increase again." Now again, we have been seeing a lot of violent crimes happening in the coronavirus pandemic, but again, I do believe that across social media, gangs have more than likely been going back and forth with each other, and when this lockdown's over, these people are probably going to want to settle it when they see each other on the streets. And again, just like what the police have said, it's more than likely going to end up with people being murdered, and unfortunately that is the sad reality of it. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.